Hello everybody and welcome back. I thought I'd do a quick garden update video today. I'd normally have done the spring garden update before now, but as we all know, the weather's not been great. It's been pretty cold, pretty wet. I haven't had an awful lot to show you, but finally, as the better weather's starting to come in, things are starting to wake up. So I thought I'd show you what we're planning on doing this year in the garden and what we've got coming through already. So I'll start on the bottom patio. We've got our lilies, which are really bushing up and looking lovely. We have had a few lily beetle problems already, but we've given them a quick spray and it seems to have done the trick for now. We'll just keep an eye on that. One thing I have noticed with the lilies, if you can see there, they're all bending towards the sun. So I'm going to spin this pot around and hopefully that will solve the problem and they'll grow nice and straight. So after the lilies, I've got my purple berry tree. I forget the actual name of it, and even if I could remember, I probably couldn't pronounce it. I do believe it's quite a long name, but it has lovely purple berries on in the autumn. And as you can see, like I said, it's been very cold. Normally this would be full of leaves now, lovely and green and lush, and it's only just really starting to have any leaves on it at all. And then after that I have my mint. I have several varieties of mint in the garden. I'm a keen cook. I really enjoy cooking, and for me it's a must to have my own herbs in the garden that I can pick as I'm cooking. I think that's the apple mint, I'm not entirely sure. I'll just give it a little ruffle up and see what. Nope, that's the spearmint. But as you can see, it's lovely and bushy. I trimmed that right back during the winter, took it right down to the actual base of the stalks, and it's come back very vigorous. And next to that, again, more lilies. And then we have our lovely bamboos. They're in pots at the moment. We are going to plant them out into the garden once we finish the patio at the top, but the top patio is nowhere near ready yet. So for now they're just going to stay here in the pots, but they're quite happy. They seem to be doing well, and they're really, really tall. Don't know if you can see there, but they've gone right up above the top window line. They're almost touching the guttering. So yeah, I'm quite confident that they're happy in the pots for now. After the bamboo, I've got my blueberry, and it's absolutely covered in blossom this year, which my son's really happy about because he loves pancakes and blueberries for breakfast before school in the morning. So it won't be long now before we're getting some lovely blueberries. And also the bees love this blossom. It's usually covered. I think I've probably scared them off this morning, but yeah, I do love the blueberry. Once it's flowered and you've had all the berries and then it becomes autumn, the leaves turn a fiery orangey red and it's just beautiful. It really is beautiful. And speaking of red, if we move along, there's my Japanese Acer. It's just got such gorgeous colours, foliage wise. Absolutely stunning it is. When we first bought that, I think it was 3 years ago, it was a tiny twig, and we bought that from Morrison's. Not sure whether we were expecting much, but look at the progress in 3 years. So just backtracking slightly from the Acer, we've got chives. Like I said, I love to cook. It's one of my great passions. and I've got so many different herbs in the garden that I like to use when I am cooking. So that's a pot of chives. I've also got another pot of chives down here because clearly one's just not enough. And then over here behind the Acer, this is a new thing for this year. My husband, who's a very talented carpenter among other things, has built me this beautiful pagoda trellis framework, whatever you want to call it, for my sweet peas to grow up. They've all been planted around the base, or inside the base should I say, and it shouldn't be long now before they reach the bottom rung on the trellis and start climbing up to the top. Before they do start climbing too quickly, I need to get some fairy lights, some solar powered fairy lights, just some nice warm white ones, to light up this little corner when we sat out on the patio in an evening in the summer. And once the sweet peas have grown and flowered, I think it'll be lovely to have all the lights shining through as well. And behind that we've got our olive tree. It's looking a little bit yellow on the leaves. I'm not sure what it is that we're not giving it that it needs. We need to do a bit of research on that, because I do love the olive. I don't want that to die or be diseased in any way. So I'll have a little look at that and see what I can do. Please do excuse the state of the garden, the lawn. We've done the no mow May in order to give the wildlife a little bit of a reprieve, I should imagine is the word I'm looking for, so that they can get their numbers up, because obviously in the summer everybody's mowing the gardens. There's not much of a habitat for them, so we joined No Mow May. And this is the rose bed, and I don't know if you remember from last year on one of my videos when I put the slate down, I weed membraned this section and put all the blue slate down. As you can see, it's done the job. There's no weeds coming through. We cut the rose bushes back hard in the winter, and now they're all starting to have the leaves. We do have a couple that's got some little buds coming as well, so very soon that's going to be an absolute delight with all the different roses coming through. Behind the roses you can just see the herb trough. Again, that was a video I did last year. Some of the herbs didn't survive the winter, they're not all very winter hardy, so I am going to replant that up this year with some new herbs. And the watering can light feature is back out this year. It's had a bit of an update. I bought a new watering can for it, but it's solar powered, so when the sun goes down the lights come on and it looks like there's water tipping out of the end of the watering can. It's very effective. I do love it. I'm not sure it's going to stay there though. It looks a bit out of place there. It used to be over in the corner just there, but now we've got the new structure for the sweet peas. We need to find a new home for it, so I might move it across a bit to the other side of the patio on the other border. I'm not sure yet. Then before I go over to the other side of the patio to show you the borders there, just very quickly, these are the other two varieties of mint. I believe that one's the apple mint. It is, and that one is just your regular mint, the one here. We have more lilies. We do love lilies. And here we have some alpine flowers. Now we're building a dry stone wall at the top of the garden. It's probably on my videos from last year. We did start it then. We've not been able to finish it. We've got an allotment as well, so the time that we spend gardening needs to be shared between home and the allotment. But my idea is that we've left some cracks, some holes in the wall, and I'm going to plant these in the various little holes and let them grow out. I've also, over at the allotment in the greenhouse, got some Mexican fleabane growing, and that's also going to join this one and be planted in the cracks in the wall, so that they can grow out of the wall and make it look even more rustic and natural. And then moving along to the other side, it's a bit of a mess, this bottom patio at the moment. These are some paving slabs that we're going to be using for the top patio. We got them really cheap because, as you can see, they're not uniform, they're all broken. But we're actually quite happy to have a patio that's a bit of a crazy paving area. So we snapped them up, and they're all sitting here now waiting for the weather to improve enough so that we can carry on with the top patio. And then this is the border on the other side. As you can see, it's quite overgrown, it needs some TLC. The wooden mushrooms that we had have had a bit of a battering through the winter. They need staking back in and varnishing up again just to protect them from the weather. The lupins are coming back behind where the mushroom is there, look. They look very healthy and happy again. Just beside there, that's my rosemary. And then moving along, again, this should be much more green than it is. The weather's really not done us any favours this year, but that's my hydrangea. I've got the purple geranium. If you remember from last year, it has the most vibrant, almost ultraviolet coloured flowers on there. It's one of my absolute favourites, and I did manage to collect some seed from it, and I've managed to grow 4 more plants from this one, so I'm really happy about that. I'm going to plant those up all over the garden. It is one of my favourites. And then just behind there we have the hosta. Again, if you remember from last year, this is the auricular theatre that I made. I'm struggling to get auriculas. I struggled last year. I assumed it was because of lockdown. I'm still struggling this year. I've got all the little terracotta pots that's going to sit on there, and this year I'm going to fill them with primroses because we've got those growing over at the allotment. But if anybody does know where I can get auriculas from, please do leave me a comment and let me know, because I am desperate to get hold of some and fill this little auricular theatre up. So moving further up the garden, it's just starting to rain, so I'm going to try and do this really quickly before the rain really starts coming down. This is the dry stone wall that I was mentioning before. You'll be able to see it much better when we've finally managed to mow the grass. It's not long now till the end of May, so no mow May is nearly finished, and then we'll be able to get this grass cut. We've built the steps leading up to what's going to be the top patio. It really is a mess at the moment. The big IBC cage was what we used to burn all the trees that we took down. We had large conifers all along this side, and we've cut them all down to let more light into the garden. So the steps are new for this year, they've been built. This is the other side. This is still a work in progress with this wall. It's partly built, but again, the weather's not been great for cementing. It's been a bit too cold, so that's had to go on a bit of a back burner, but now it's going to be improving. We'll get that finished off, and then I can get that all planted up with my Mexican fleabane. And then that's the top patio. By the summer, this will look very, very different. These paving slabs that you can see here, they're all being taken up. They were only ever a temporary measure, just so we had a base to sit on when we were out last summer. If you remember from last year, that was the planter that we built and filled with all the climbing roses. They're all doing really well. The rest of the planter needs planting up now, and we've got tons of plants for that over at the allotment, which we're just keeping in the polytunnel just in case there is any more frost, but I very much doubt there'll be any more frost now this year. That's the patio table, that's going this year. We're going to get a new patio table for up here once the patio is completely finished, and we still have the quail. So that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed having a look around the garden, at the bit of progress that we've actually managed to make while the weather's been so poor, and at the progress that we're hoping to make throughout the rest of the year. We will of course keep you updated and let you see how it's all going. It is really starting to rain now, so I'm going to say bye bye for now, and I'll see you again soon.